Another trophy coming home.
Yeah, third one. So that's it's nice to have some more things on the shelf.
Yeah. So how did the sequence feel today?
This whole year, I feel like in baseball terms, I've been like foul tipping. I haven't been behind it once, but to be honest, especially beginning of the year, wasn't sleeping, learning what it's like to be a new dad, especially a twin baby. So I think I was in really good shape this whole year, but my form took a long time to get behind. But I was glad I was able to compete and get by the way it was. And these past 2 weeks, really since Budapest, I feel like we actually started the lock-in training like the first 2 weeks before that. So I finally got a good rhythm, finally got behind the ball. I'm glad that this past week, I shouldn't say I'm glad, because the reason I stayed in Italy for that last meet, our twins got COVID. So I was only supposed to be away for 6 days, and it turned out being away for I think 18 days now, because I didn't go home because they had COVID and Ashley was taking care of the babies. That's why she's not here. So the whole plan was the family is supposed to be here, but at least you get to bring home some hardware for them to play with.
When you think about how long it kind of took you to kind of ramp into being comfortable again from a different training situation than you'd ever experienced before, how much confidence does this give you going into next year?
Yeah, I think this whole year my mentality was to learn what it was like. I felt this year I didn't feel like I had to prove anything in that same way of I've had a bunch of medals before. Last year I had the best statistical year of my life. So it was just I wanted to learn how to do it this year. I didn't want to half-ass to be I'm worried about training and not worried about being a dad. I was a dad full-time this year. Obviously these past 2 weeks not being with them sucked because that wasn't the plan, but them getting sick was also not part of the plan. But I'm glad I was able to be there full-time. I went to every single track meet with Ashley this year, and that wasn't fun to drive to Gainesville, drive to Ole Miss, drive everywhere, but at the same time we did it together, and that was the plan, and I loved every minute of it. But, training suffered a little bit, but I knew I was strong, and I'm glad that I had my strength and experience in the back pocket. So when things were a little ugly, like USA's and even Worlds, I knew I could kind of punch a line drive to get by and get a medal and keep it going. But that's certainly not what I want to do. And today was nice to have a good series. Obviously a win and a far throw is fun to do, but it's also fun to see a far throw that you miss, because that's what gets you excited to keep on training for the next time. Because honestly, next year is, I want to put the eggs in one basket. Ashley stepped down from her job at Vanderbilt and she's putting her family first. And part of that is me putting the eggs in the basket to really focus on my training, because I feel like I've gone to all these majors and gone to the Olympics, proud to be there, but never hungry enough to pull it off. And I think I've been in good shape to do it, but I'm just going to kind of go all out to really just see how far I can throw, because I've seen too many far throws in training, too many warm-ups, and now it's kind of getting personal. I'm pissed off, and it kind of gets me excited.
Were there specific indicators in the last 2 weeks in training? You said you started to feel like you were coming around, but what were the clues?
I'll tell you, for me, it's maybe I use a race car analogy, but it's just until I start feeling that compression in the weight in the front of the ring, I feel like a Formula One car that doesn't have the brakes. I don't have the traction. So I'm scared to bring the acceleration and keep on continuing it. So I'm a little bit more hesitant, but I started to feel my left side in the front. I started to feel that compression in the front. When I feel that, it's I want to run full speed into it. And that's what gives me the confidence to go crazy. I always view it if you guys watch the javelin, you have to trust that left leg plant in the front. If you don't trust that, you're not going to run into it. And as these past couple of weeks, I kind of started to feel more and more confidence, more and more connection. And today, I don't think I caught any of the throws. I don't think I squared up them, but I finally had the legs and kind of had everything I needed to do at least to compete, and miss a couple good throws.
That's got to be encouraging.
Yeah, it's encouraging. It's also exciting to, it kind of makes me mad that it took so long to be able to do it, but it's this puzzle that, at the beginning of this year, I skipped some steps to, all of a sudden I was at the Florence Diamond League, and I didn't kind of check the boxes I'd like to check off, and I had to kind of do some things. And when you get those firing patterns not set up the right way, they actually kind of bite you in the ass for a long time until you can kind of take a breath and retool them the right way. So it makes you mad, but it also makes you realize there is a system behind it, and when you have the system set up right, you can do some crazy things.
And you had time after Budapest to do that reboot, or just was
honestly, going into Budapest I would say was a miss. I'm glad to come home with another medal, 7 in a row. I'm proud of that, but I had some pretty good training throws to it, but I think I didn't have enough of those days to be confident enough to be able to replicate it. I think I could have caught a big throw in that comp, but especially with the morning session and the rain delay and me being older and bigger, you know, I lost a little steam, and but like at the same time, I had enough in my back pocket to kind of come back, get a medal, and check the box, even though it's not the prettiest color I got.